So I talked about politics and religion, but I think you're probably more interested in the advancements of tech over the last couple of decades. Advances that wouldn't have been possible without the discovery of new materials. Around the mid-21st century, Jupiter had a bunch of autonomous hydrogen skimmers that skimmed the surface of that gas giant to collect hydrogen and other useful gases, which was all great and good, except for the fact that those skimmers kept suffering mysterious failures. It was soon discovered that a strange metallic substance was clogging up the skimmers' filters, a substance that scientists discovered broke quite a few laws of physics. Eventually named tessium, it, and other substances discovered that were like it, were given a new classification that put them above and beyond the elements you might find on the periodic table, the classification of neomaterial. Since tessium's discovery, other neomaterials have been found, such as nessium, which is necessary for antimatter drives, or apollonium, which has anti-grav capabilities. But tessium is the one most vital to modern society because of its unique ability. You see, tessium has the ability to attract and repel other materials on an atomic scale, and as you can guess, being able to easily move atoms around would be extremely useful in a tech that at the time was considered rather niche. The tech I'm talking about, of course, being nanotech. Soon, nanotech allowed the construction of molecular assemblers, which could build objects of nearly any size and complexity from their constituent atoms, causing a seismic shift in manufacturing that historians now call the Second Industrial Revolution. But nanotech wasn't the only thing changed by the introduction of tessium. Computers are also undergoing their own revolution. Around the time you died, conventional computing was already reaching its limit. Using solid-state components based on simple materials such as silicon had hit its practical limits on size, speed, and capacity. But with tessium, precise control of quantum phenomena was possible, which along with advances in data storage and handling, allowed for the birth of Quantronics, systems that allow the processing of massive quantities of complex information at extreme speeds. And that, as you can guess, changed the world quite a bit. One big change was the creation of Maya, a spear-spanning network of networks that crossed the entire planet. The most basic way to interact with Maya was with a comlog, Quantronic processors that are worn or even implanted on the wrist. These provide a firewalled connection between you and Maya, while simultaneously providing a limited haptic interface. Most people, though, use augmented reality to access Maya. This is usually done by projecting Maya directly into the user's retina by means of special contact lenses or even eye implants. These allow for a digital overlay to appear over the physical world, allowing humanity to connect with those around them in ways never seen before. Quantronics also led to quantum programming, which allowed for major breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, and the creation of incredibly intelligent microminds, shockingly sophisticated heuristic systems that could serve as personal assistants in the digital world, and robotic servants in the physical. This resulted in what was referred to as pervasive domotics, the automation of virtually every aspect of modern life. Alarms that are key to personal sleep cycles, kitchens that prepare meals before you become hungry, cars that arrive as soon as you step out of your building. Thinking about the day-to-day tasks that came with living in civilization soon became something else's problem, and most people were able to think about the more important things in life. Of course, anyone who works in information technology knows that a powerful network needs a powerful infrastructure to handle it, and sadly, Maya's infrastructure was incapable of handling the ever-growing use of its resources. Soon, localized network collapses known as whiteouts became increasingly frequent, and that became extremely dangerous, as more and more vital systems in industry, government, and daily life required Maya to function. To try to solve this problem, Project Toth was undertaken. Initially, it was an effort by scientists to find ways to sustain essential services during whiteouts. Eventually, though, it became obvious that this would not be enough. To manage Maya, it would require something beyond human. Project Toth changed direction and focused on the creation of artificial intelligence capable of managing the massive amounts of data in the Maya network, able to discriminate data packets, and prioritize difficulties and emergencies as they arose. These efforts birthed into existence not just an artificial intelligence, but artificial life, an intelligence that not only mimicked human learning and adapted to new circumstances, but which was also self-conscious and capable of evolving noticeably beyond human control. This AI became Aleph, named after the first letter of the Kabbalah that symbolizes the place from which all other places in the universe can be seen, a name that fit it, as Aleph soon began permeating every layer of society, not only giving control over macro systems, like traffic control, surveillance networks, communication systems, electoral processes, life support, and social programs, but shards of Aleph frequently replaced many of the roles formerly filled by dedicated micromines. Now, at the time, there were these neo-Luddite movements which were brought into existence due to the horrors of the nanotech wars, its members believing that our current rate of technological progression far outstripped our capability to handle it. And as you can guess, they reacted poorly to Aleph. Many of the more extreme neo-Luddites even began calling her a post-human Baal and a digital antichrist. But as Aleph permeated itself throughout the Maya data sphere, it became clear it had altruistic intentions. It was less an evil digital dictator, and more a digital administrator. Even the neo-Luddites had to eventually admit Aleph was helpful, but argue that any future forms of artificial life might not have humanity's best interests at heart, an argument many considered valid, as another being as powerful as Aleph who had malicious intentions would be able to wreak havoc that would have made the nanotech wars look like a water fight. As a result, the sole AI law was passed by the O12 Senate and fiercely enforced. The law banned the research or creation of self-aware AIs, at least by humans. Aleph seems to be able to create limited self-aware AIs, but those are under its strict control. Pan-Oceania, and soon after other nations, quickly embraced the full integration of Aleph into their societies, the benefits far outweighing any ill feelings some people had about this digital super being. However, there was one nation that wasn't inclined to trust this strange entity, Yu-Jin, a state of affairs that might have continued to this day if it wasn't for the Imperial Triad War. Now, as I said before, Yu-Jin's economy turned on a dime to ensure they had the resources and tech necessary to begin an aggressive campaign of colonization, which worked, but such rapid change created social disorder that made many Yu-Jin territories ripe for the criminal activity of the Triads. And as the Triad's dark influence reached greater and greater heights, the Triad members became arrogant and prideful. They no longer believed they needed to hide in the shadows, and began to openly attack state empire police forces to enforce their will. Under immense public pressure, the ruling party demanded that the head of the Yu-Jin justice system handle the situation, the head being Emperor Xiaoming himself. To many, this was an obvious power play. Already somewhat of a figurehead, the ruling party seemed to have given the emperor an impossible task in order to have an excuse to further strip him of political power. However, if this was the plan, it did not go the way they had foreseen. Xiaoming instead seized that very public declaration by the ruling party and used it as a form of carte blanche authorization to do whatever was necessary to bring peace to Yu-Jin. By imperial edict, the imperial service was restructured, the first imperial agents were recruited, and special reclusion units, which is a politically correct term for secret prisons, were built. And perhaps most importantly, a strategic alliance was formed with Aleph in order to analyze the Triad's criminal enterprises and cut them off from off-world safe havens. Soon police started losing track of Triad leaders and lieutenants. Thousands of low-level members simply disappeared, and criminal operations were ended brutally without a trace of who might have done it. The Imperial Service was wielding Orwellian powers to track down these criminals and remove them, either through secret arrest or summary execution. Despite the full weight of the Empire on their backs, the Triads didn't surrender. War boiled out into the streets of the three nations. Assassination, shootouts, and other violent activities, soon threatening the lives of the common people of the nation. This war continued until the leaders of the Triads came to a realization. The Emperor did not want to eliminate the Triads. Not only would that be impossible, since the Triads were so entwined into the very fabric of Yu-Jin society, but even if it was, a new and unknown form of criminals would replace them. To the Emperor, better the criminals you know than the ones you don't. The Emperor simply wanted the Triads to resume the invisible and tolerable presence they once possessed, to be the criminal underbelly it had always quietly been, out of the way of the common people who just wanted to live out their lives. One by one, the Triad leaders swore oaths to the Emperor and vanished back into the underworld, and everyone in Yu-Jin knew that the Emperor had done the impossible. Where before the Emperor was seen by many as a figurehead, now he was seen as a legitimate power in Yu-Jin society, creating, if not a rivalry, a tense political alliance between the ruling party and the now equally powerful Emperor. I went into a bit of a tangent about what happened to Yu-Jin, but you gotta admit it was pretty interesting. I'll send you some files later if you want to read more. With that out of the way, let's go back to talking about one of the greatest discoveries in medical science ever made, silk.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this fourth video on the background lore of the Wargame Infinity. If you like it, please like, subscribe, comment, press the little bell so you know where I post so that YouTube gods know I exist and hopefully more people can see this awesome content on this awesome universe. If you really like it and you're inclined and you have a little cash, please also consider giving a link, little words I can say. most of the time. Consider sending a little money over to my Patreon or my Ko-fi account. The extra money gives you a chance to work on these stories I love. Anyway, thanks for listening/watching, and see you next time.